Welcome back to Fitness Manifesto. I am one of your hosts, Kim, and joining me is
Justin. Welcome to this new show that we've started, which focuses on life, awesomeness, and friendship, and fitness as a whole. Kim, I got to tell you, you make zero sense to me. You're telling me it's too hot sometimes. I set the house at 68, which I thought would be perfect for you. You come in, you put a sweater on, then you sit down, you're like, it's too hot.
It's too hot. Normally, I am hot. Everybody always tells me it's cold, and I'm like, I am melting. When we go to church, everybody says the worship center is cold, cold, cold. Oh, I love it. It is never cold. It feels great.
I've only been there once, and that was miserable. I will tell you, that is, they keep that at like 45. Like that is like you get icicles in your nipples. Yeah.
No, it's not true. Not true.
It's 100% true. You just don't want to admit it.
No, I am always hot. Even if like my dad he used to be a heater and now he's not, must be age. Now we're in there and he has ice cold hands and I'm like, touch my arm, please. I am like melting and I'm always hot.
Before we get started here, I think we need to cheers each other. Cheers.
Cheers.
So for those who don't know, salute, correct. He
had to take a drink.
I did. Before each podcast, we pour a cup of tea, and today we decided cheers to it. And today we've got a very festive blend that is called, are you ready?
It's apple cider tea.
Cider.
I blew that away for you, Justin. I didn't even give him a second to think.
Kim, it just, I don't know what's happening today. You're so on the ball. We had lunch yesterday. She's firing crap off. We're recording today. She's firing crap off. She's caliente, as you like to say.
Oh, there's that Spanish again. You need to learn that in a different language now.
Muy hato. Welcome, audience. How is everybody today?
I'm looking around waiting for the audience to respond. I'm doing great, Justin. How are you?
Pretty good. I got to tell you, I'm getting really excited about Thanksgiving. My mom is coming out, and for those that don't know, we are going to do a special follow-up to our original episode with my mom next week.
I can't wait for her to be here. I have something for her.
Just so you are aware, I have not told her anything. She knows nothing. I didn't forward the picture. I didn't do anything, and she's going to love it.
Good. I got to show you up.
Well, it's not hard to do. Trust me.
No.
With me as a son, it's pretty easy to set. When the bar's that low, you can only go up.
Well, I don't think you give yourself enough credit.
Well, thank you. So my brother, to start this off, since we're already talking about family here, I want to talk about tattoos and let you guys know that you got to be very careful when you get a tattoo, because my brother has spent an ungodly sum of money and he has wanted a tattoo since we were kids. And he's turning 40 this year, got a tattoo. And I think this is his second session he got done out of like 6 or 8. And his tattoo's looking great. However, he got the back is a giant kraken that's like, it's his whole left side of his body, like the whole left side. And my daughter saw it the first time and goes, why do you have a butthole on his back? Now I can't stop seeing. I can't not see it now. So,
okay, wait. This is his first and only tattoo?
Yes, his only tattoo ever. His first tattoo, it goes all the way down his left arm, all the way down his left side. I mean, it is so massive. It is insane. It looks great, but it's
why?
Insane.
Is that like a midlife crisis thing?
He's actually always, since we were kids, like no joke, I've always wanted a hammerhead shark, and he's always wanted, he changed what he wanted over time.
He's always wanted a butt on his back?
A second butt. I think what he was looking for is I think if you were born without a butt, there's always a problem. But see what I did there? I put a butt in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, right?
You did.
Nice.
You did.
Thank you. I'm terrified to tell him, and I know he listens to this show, so I can't wait for this episode to come out. He's like, doesn't look like a butt, but he has agreed to be on this show, and he can dispute
Has he
it.
really?
Yeah, he did.
I will tell you, that was my idea.
100%. I didn't even think of it.
I take full credit for that.
Well, and you'll get to see, because my brother is he's very witty. He's very smart. He's so calm. Like he'll speak like this the entire time. Like, I'm doing great.
Is he monotone?
No, he's not monotone. He's just very even keel.
What happened to you?
Oh, I keep asking my mom. I think she had an affair. I think it's very obvious.
So were you the milkman or the UPS man?
I'm not old enough to have the milkman. that would mean I'm quite old, but I'm fairly certain that I'm going to take a step further here and say that it was most likely, this is my guess, the FedEx guy.
How come FedEx over UPS?
Well, for those that don't know, I was originally born in Denver. That was kind of like a big branching out hub for them back then. And so I know that mom, she had time on her hands sometimes. She was working too, but I know that she was home a lot midday. And I'm sure that, dad was in medical school and she was like, you know what? Today's the day.
That UPS man's looking good. You see the way he carried that box? Mm-hmm.
Mom, I'm sure you were definitely 100% non-infidelity. However, it is fun to joke about.
And we understand why Justin is not the favorite.
I don't think I've ever disputed that fact. I think that is definitely more than obvious. And
at least you own that.
I do, and I'm proud of that fact. If you own that moniker, you've got to own it. And I feel like I really own it.
Yeah, you wear that shoe very well.
Well, thank you. And if I had one foot, I would say, but I wear those shoes very well.
Okay, that too.
I know the Wyoming people sometimes, that family bush or family tree becomes a bush. And sometimes you do get, a single foot occasionally, one arm. I get you. I know where you're coming from.
Oh, Justin. But I do have to tell you, you were talking about tattoos and being very careful on what you get. Do you have any tattoos?
I don't. I want one so bad. I've wanted one almost as long as Steve, but Kelly thinks they're repulsive. So I'm on the out.
What do you want?
I designed, this is going to sound probably kind of funny, but when I was in 6th grade, I loved drawing and artistry. And so my favorite shark and my favorite animal is a hammerhead shark. So I drew this really cool hammerhead shark, but the tail's curling around. It looks like a J. So like the hammerhead's the top of the J and the tail curves around. I thought it'd be perfect on my left side of my shoulder, but that's a fat no.
You are that person. Yep.
Hang on. Since we're talking tattoos today, what is that person in your mind? I want to hear this.
Well, you're like, it has a J, the tail bends down and it's a J. So of course you'd have to put like your initial on your body, right?
In case I forgot who I was. Yeah.
Because we do that very often.
Hang on. So you're obviously relegating me to like the bottom rung of tattoo people. So in your mind.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm not.
Because you don't have a tattoo, right?
Oh my gosh, no.
Okay. But your husband used to. So when he got tattoos, did they have like a theme or anything? Or what was his take on it?
His half sleeve that was on the one arm was a Viking. And him and our brother-in-law got them done at the Sturgis Rally up in South Dakota.
Oh, serious? For the Harley Davidson one?
Yep, the motorcycle rally. Yep, they both, and actually my brother-in-law's is all on his shoulder. He's got the half sleeve coming down off of his shoulder and it's a Viking. And then he had one on his upper stomach maybe. And it was
pointing south. Are you talking further south or are you just being PC?
No, above your belly button.
Oh, okay.
And it was the Santa Cruz symbol, but it was the Santa Cruz symbol upside down and I believe backwards because the person who did it, I think they were high because Ted, he used to be a big skateboarder.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
I think, but that is so important though, right? Because I know several people. In fact, one of my next door neighbors got a tattoo when he was like 18. That was one of his very first things he ever did. And he went and he's Filipino, but he got a Chinese symbol. And the Chinese symbol was supposed to mean like strength or unity or something. And it's not like at all appropriate, like at all. He got it removed, but because he's dark skinned, like you can still say it's
right.
Still there. I'm trying to cover it up now.
Well, and Ted also had one on his forearm on his other hand. And I don't even remember what that was, but he's had them all removed. And he said that if he knew how bad they hurt to get them removed, he wouldn't have gotten them in the first place.
One of the ladies, when we were at the soccer celebration last week, she is getting hers removed. She's getting like something on her leg. She had a leg one. I told her that Ted's unreal. Like you can't, I've never seen anyone that you can't really tell that there was tattoos there. When you said he had a full sleeve, I mean, I've seen this guy tons. You cannot tell he had them. I've never seen anything like it. No, and it's weird.
It was black ink. It was crazy. We showed Justin a picture of it prior and it blew him away.
Absolutely. And especially because he's kind of ginger too, because he's got lighter skin and he's got freckles, all that kind of stuff. And so any dermatologist out there that listens to us, and we know we have a lot, that is supposedly one of the hardest tones to get right too when you're removing stuff because it's so complicated. Whoever, the dermatologist, plastic surgeon, whoever did it, did like massive credit to them. It looks unreal.
Yes, he said it hurt like hell. He actually didn't even complete it. He was supposed to go back for a couple more sessions. And when we had gotten it, it was for full removal as many times as it took. And he was supposed to go back for a couple more. And he goes, I can't do it because it was that painful. Jesus. And it only takes a couple minutes and then it's done. But he's like, nope.
I'm going to ask you because I'm going to lead the conversation here for a second because I'm dying to hear yours. All right. So in my lifetime, I've seen, like you, probably thousands and thousands of tattoos. Two of my absolute favorites. I'm going to start with one and I'm going to pass it to you. One of my absolute favorites was I was on a train from Cairo to Luxor in Egypt. And we met these two Australian girls. I was with a buddy of mine. We're sitting at the bar. It's 2 a.m. or something. It's super late and everyone's asleep. And we start talking about tattoos. And she goes, "Do you want to see mine?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" She pulls down her pants. Totally. I mean, this was very unexpected. Pulls it down and has like a little landing strip, and she has a lawnmower cut out going through it. And so there's actually a lawnmower on the end, and she's cut a little trail going through it like this. It was the most crazy.
Like on her pubic hair?
Yes, she'd shaved a landing strip, and it was just it went through like this. For those that can't see, it looks like a snake. And then at the end, like right above her stuff, it was a lawnmower.
Interesting. Why? What was the history behind it?
I don't really remember. I just thought she was really hot. I don't remember the why she did that, but I just remember to this day that image is so burned in my brain. I can't not see it now. Every time I think of it, it was hilarious. And listening to her say, "Gotta, like check it out, mate," and going in the middle of Egypt, all of it together was like perfect. It was so weird. What's like one of your favorite crazy weird tattoos you've ever seen on anybody?
Oh my gosh. Crazy weird. I don't know. Nothing. I'll tell you the tattoo that I wanted to get once upon a time was it a dandelion? And that like when you blew on it, it was the ravens that flew away. It was just, I loved it, but no. Like needles are not my thing. And I know everybody's like, it's annoying. No.
First of all, that sounds really amazing. But I'll tell you, so I didn't know this about tattoos. And I don't know if it's changed since Ted's got them, but like Steve's, because the last time I've seen someone get a tattoo, you get it and then they put like a plastic like sheathing over it, to like help it heal. They don't even do that anymore. It's so even right after, it looks like it's a done tattoo. After 4 hours of it, it's so incredible. Like there's no bandage. He said he never got a bandage or anything on it. And it's his entire back.
I can't believe it's his first tattoo and
That's what I said.
He's like, go big or go home, right?
Well, unfortunately for him, he's small, but the tattoo is definitely big. Yes.
Are you taller than him?
Yes.
Because you keep saying he's small.
So the second tattoo that I ever saw that has been like burned in my brain. This was, again, I don't know what it has to do with overseas, but I was in school in London. We were at a pub. And we took these two girls home, and it was so funny because she's like, "Do you want to see my tattoo?" This is before, by the way, the Australian. So I should have figured this later, but
all these girls want to show you their tattoos.
Well, we were already on the way. So,
Three sheets to the wind. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. She pulls it down and shows me her butt, and she's got like 2 stop signs above her butt cheeks. And then there's like this little tail thing coming out of her butt, like the top of her butt. And she goes, "Spread the cheeks and I'll show you where it goes." I'm like, she at least spread them. And there's like a snake going into her butt. And I was like, it's a full, like it was an elaborate, like a rattlesnake kind of thing. I mean, it wasn't just like a couple of lines. This was a very elaborate thing going all the way to her backside. And I got to tell you, that was not only a turn off. I, to this day, am so scarred by that image. It's not good.
Okay. So what do you think that tattoo artist was like when she was like, "This is what I want"?
I'm sure he was dying. If he's anything like me, he's like, "Yes, I can do that," because it's so insane. I don't know. Like, I also had millions of questions. Like, what if you fart when you're doing it? Like, I mean, what if there's like a lot of questions I have?
And also gross.
It's all gross. I'm not saying it's not gross. I mean, how would you handle it? If someone came to you and you were the tattoo artist, what do you think you'd be like?
Ew.
Pretty bad, right?
Yeah, gross. Like, I don't think I could do it.
I don't know if I could do it, but I would definitely find someone too, because it's so, and also I'd be questioning like, what happened to you as a child? Like what was your childhood like that you needed to have a snake come out of your butt?
Oh, that's true. Like why? There has to be a backstory. Like what made you want that?
I don't know. If there are any psychiatrists or psychologists listening to this, please comment as to what drives people to get a snake tattoo come out of their butt. Just hypothetically, there's got to be some sort of trauma. Like you don't just wake up one day, you're like, you know what? I need a butt tattoo. No, and not just a butt. I need it in the crack, which I can't imagine how painful that was.
Or like nothing happened and they're like, yeah, this would be awesome. But also,
I'm so disturbed by that.
How funny would it be if this person back in the day who showed you this listens to this and reaches out to you? Oh my gosh, that would be perfect.
Kim, you're such a genius, and I don't think I say that enough. So you are a true genius because I can't believe I didn't think of it. Like that is, I'm so jealous because that is a perfect. The best part is like, does it still look the same? Did you try to get it removed?
Why? There's a backstory behind this. You know,
Literally,
there is.
and she had a backstory to her backstory.
Exactly. I want to know if she is listening and reaches out to you. We have questions.
Absolutely. So we used to go to a church over here. It's a Catholic church right down the street. The priest gave a sermon because during confession, someone had announced they felt, and of course, you don't know who this is. It's like a huge congregation, right? So there's, I don't know, probably 1,000 people there. He gave this whole sermon on desecrating your body with religious symbols. And he basically went down the thing of saying, look, it's appropriate to get a cross. It's appropriate to get all these kind of things. But if you're putting them on certain parts of your body, it may not be as appropriate. And I was like, I want to know, like you were asking why and where, like, how did this come up? Like, what did you see that you were like, I need to tell someone about this? Like, who confessed to you? And what was it? Was it like a cross in the wrong position? Was it the cross doing something? I mean, I that's where I have questions.
That's really weird that he would come out and say that.
It was a whole sermon. It was a entire, I don't know, 15, 20-minute sermon on the sacredness of your body and not to desecrate it with, if you're going to put religious symbols on, do it appropriately and don't desecrate them. And so the whole time I'm thinking of, well, what can you do to desecrate like on your body? Like,
wow.
Yeah.
How did that come up during confession?
Again, I'm dying to know these like you, these are the questions that I have.
You have questions.
I have a lot of questions.
I want to know, like, what made him want to preach a sermon about that?
Well, that's kind of where my head went because I'm like, it can't just be one. Like you don't just see one and go, there had to be a series.
Right. Interesting. How long ago was that?
Probably 4 years, something like that.
Okay.
Why, you thinking, was it you before you got yours removed?
No, I don't have any tattoos. And if I had tattoos, no way in hell would I go through that to get them removed. I am not that person.
Well, speaking of not that person, so for those that don't get to see Kim the way I do and on the level that I do, she, for 2 days now, I've seen her and she has not been the Kim that I know. And I want to share this with you because typically her typical attire are jeans or jean shorts with no less than 500 holes in them. Is that fair? Or maybe 600?
Don't you judge me. You actually buy them that way now. Thank you.
I'm not judging. I'm just trying to paint the picture for people that, I mean, literally there's holes everywhere.
There is.
Yes, everywhere.
My mother hates those shorts, like hates them. I'm
As a
pretty
father,
sure if she could get a hold of them without me knowing, she would throw them away for me.
Challenge accepted. I will work with Ted on this. But today she's wearing full length, very nice sweatpants, I'd call them. And then a normal shirt, which she usually wears, but a sweatshirt that she took off a minute ago, which I mentioned too. So my proverbial hat is off to you, Kim. The hat doesn't cover this. Come on.
No, it does not.
I have been in the middle of the Sahara all the way to Qatar. Wore a hat once that whole trip. Yeah, hair, tons of sunscreen. I'll be white faced as much as possible. I'll have so much zinc on because I don't want to get skin cancer, but the hat doesn't cover this.
Doesn't cover there.
No.
Has your hair always been like that though?
You will get the truth from my mother, but no, I, at one point, my mom reminds me of this all the time. My hair's always usually been up in some regard, doing different things. So like it's been up and back, it's been combed back, it's all these different things. I've shaved the sides, I've done a lot to it, but it's usually up. But I did have a phase, I think it was high school or beginning of college, that I had the Gordon Gecko look, which is basically, it was like combed straight back with heavy gel. And I look at these pictures now and I'm so mortified. I went out of my dorm or my house, depending, I can't remember if it was high school or college, like looking like that. Like I looked like an idiot.
That's when your mom sent you balloons and you were running across the campus with the balloons because you hated balloons. Good
circle back. I like that. That, for those that don't know, that's about 4 episodes ago. High five to you, Kim.
You're welcome.
It would be around that time. Absolutely. It would be. Yes.
I want to see pictures.
I am sure she can dig some pictures up. They are so, one of them, she posted on our fridge for a long time. I think it was high school, actually. I think it was my senior year picture. And I remember I looked stoned in it. I'm like, I have one eye down, my hair is combed back. I mean, I look like a total pothead. I'm like, I've never, at that stage, I never even drank. So I know I wasn't high or anything like that. It was like the worst picture of my mom kept posting it up there. My grandma would walk by it and she'd be like, you're not normally that ugly. What happened? And I would be like, Grandma. Yeah, Grandma, you, what happened to you? Yeah, you turd. Yeah.
Did you really, you turd?
Well, I'm trying to make it so Blake doesn't have to edit all of it out. So I'm fairly certain my grandma and I had a very fun relationship growing up. She would go out of her way to tell me I was her favorite. And so all those things. And so I could get away with murder, where my brother would be like, Grandma, you're looking a little heavy today. She'd be like, okay, don't like you anymore.
There goes your Christmas present.
Sorry, Grandma, but let's be honest, you're never good at Christmas presents. So,
well, my hair used to be bleach blonde too.
Okay, so you didn't go the tattoo route, but you went the rebellious blonde hair. Now, why did you not keep it blonde?
It's a lot of upkeep.
Oh, that is the answer that most people give. I don't think it's as bad. I've heard for longer hair, it's a lot worse. I don't think it's that bad.
Well, okay. I did bleach blonde when we lived overseas. And before I was a big soccer player and before we would travel for soccer, we would bleach it. And then I let it grow out. And then I put highlights, lots of blonde highlights in. I just was over it. So then I colored my hair purple and I've done red. I've even done black. One night we were drinking wine and went and got a box of black hair dye and dyed it black.
Was it a good look? I'm mixed on this one. I'm not sure because I think you're more of a lighter girl. Please do.
But this is dark. I think my hair is dark.
Well, but I'm saying that's as dark as I would go. Like, yeah, because I can't see you with super like jet black hair. It's like me. I cannot see myself with I think I look like, what's that movie with the vampires? Crap.
It's like Twilight?
Twilight. Thank you. Yes, I think I look like the guy from Twilight with his like pale skin already and black hair. I'm fairly certain people would think I'm a vampire. Yeah.
Edward. He didn't have black hair.
Well, but when you think of a vampire, though, like that's typically. So I think that's where I would go with this.
When I think of a vampire, I don't think black hair.
Well, I think that's just showing your age then. Because when I was a kid, they all had black hair and they were based on the Sesame Street character, Count.
Count Dracula.
Yeah.
So, okay. Did you watch True Blood on HBO?
There's one HBO show I have never seen, but I want to. I've heard it's fantastic.
It was really, really good.
I feel like you're leaving us hanging. Why are you bringing that up?
I was just because you were talking about Twilight, G-rated vampire series. So I was questioning if you ever watched True Blood. I don't think. No, he had dark hair.
Yes. See, there's something about it.
Interesting. Okay.
I love the dramatic Obama pause you gave there. You're just like, very rarely does Kim mince words or pause. When she's pausing, that is I'm
in deep thought. I'm thinking of what Edward looked like in the first Twilight because his hair wasn't dark. But I remember, when the sun hit them, they glistened like diamonds or sparkles.
Man, I might be a vampire. Who knows? All right. So I want to go back to one last funny story about tattoos, because this is one of my favorite stories ever. And I want you all the safety message we are giving to everyone is really think about what you're going to put on your body. Because it's great if you want to do it, but just really think about it. Don't do it on a whim. I had a buddy of mine, and this is probably early 2000s, maybe late 90s. He wanted to get a snake tattoo. So it was going to be a snake tattoo wrapped around his arm. He was dating the girl that was doing the tattoo.
Oh,
yeah. So this is what happened. So she did the outline of the tattoo, and he's like, "Oh, this looks great. I love where you're going." They end up breaking up.
I knew that was coming.
Of course. Come on. This is like dating a stripper. It never lasts. So she filled in the snake skin. It was supposed to have a message in it. I can't remember what it was, but she filled it in with like, "I hate you. You're a tool." It was all these things wrapped around. Back then, they didn't have clear bandages. They had the gauze. And so he puts the gauze on it and we take it off. I don't know, 2 days later. It was a while. Takes it off and he's looking in the mirror. He's like, "Man, this looks fantastic. She did such a good job." And I'm like, "Let me see it." I start reading it to him and he's like, "Ah."
He had her do it after they broke up?
Well, they were dating when it started, but something happened. I think it was like a 2 week in between. He went between visits, right? And so something happened and they broke up.
So then he kept going back to her to do it?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's like, he deserves that then.
I'm not sure he deserves it. It wasn't smart.
No.
I love Kim. All right. So why you think he deserves it for being an idiot?
Yes. Why would you? I don't understand. Why would you go back to that person and be like, "Hey, you need to finish this tattoo"? Clearly they broke up for a reason. And she's like, "Oh, I got this. I got this good."
See, Kim, this is why I think you need to be a tattoo, or like you should call yourself Revenge, the tattoo artist, because I would love for you to like only deal with problem like you did what to her? Okay, come here. Let's talk. I got a great tattoo for you. It's going to be right in your back. Here's the design, and then sub it out for something. I think that would be fantastic.
He clearly was not thinking. Kudos to her for being like, I got you. You remember all those things that you did? Those were going through her mind.
I'm not saying it's she's not a bad person for doing it. I just think that there's other ways to handle the anger, but maybe it was very cathartic because I don't know.
Did he have to pay for it?
Oh yeah. So like the
Oh.
first, but she gave him like a steep discount. I want to say like the whole thing was like originally $700 and he had to pay like two, I think, something like that.
Ooh, that's pretty steep.
I'm not saying, yeah. I mean, my brother's he can talk to that. I don't know how much it was, but it is, and he's still going back. It is insane.
I can't
And-
wait to see pictures.
Well, I'll show you right after this, but I mean, my kid, the first thing Bailey said, why did Uncle get a butthole on his back? I never saw it before, but now, like when someone says something, then you can't stop seeing that thing.
And then that's all you see? Uh-huh.
That's all, not only is that all I see, you'll see it. It's so pronounced in his back. You can't, now that I've outed this, I'm very proud of you for doing this. I'm glad you're doing your thing, but I got to tell you, don't be mad at me. Be mad at Bailey.
Now you know what Justin sees every time he looks at you.
Giant butthole. I got to tell you, Blake is going to have the most fun editing this episode. She's going to be like, oh God.
Justin, we did not talk about fitness at all.
Well, but part of this is like making good decisions. Part of fitness is making good decisions. And so
Right?
if you are thinking about putting anything on your body, I think it's just wise to have good counsel, be of sound mind. Don't do it when you're drunk.
Don't let your ex do it.
That's you nailed it. See, number 4 is maybe we should move that to number 1. Don't have an ex do a tattoo. I don't care how good of a relationship you have. On a complete side note here, I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday and his next door neighbor got broken into. That's not the funny part. The funny part is
I'm glad you had to say that.
yeah. And punchline is, so he's over there hanging out, talking to the cops and whatever. And they're like, why didn't you report this? Because he could see the lights on stuff. He's like, well, although they're divorced, he comes over all the time and they sleep together. And I'm like, well, and he's like, no, they just sleep together. They like get into the bed together and they sleep together, which is kind of sweet if you think about it that way. But I'm like, I have so many questions. But it was just a very weird thing that he just tossed it out there like, oh yeah, he comes over all the time. They sleep together. And I'm like, did they
Just share the bed?
They share the bed. They have not as you like to
that.
say, made coitus in a long.
Don't ever say coitus.
I thought that was your word.
No.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I got Ted's home. I'm going to go coitus this.
Yeah, no.
Get the coitus on.
We call that tea. A lot of people say tea is gossip. It's tea in my household.
What?
But anyway, so they
No, you're not getting off the hook. Why tea?
I don't even remember. We just joke around with it. I think it stemmed from our neighbors. I believe that's where it came from. No, not like that. But that's what they would refer to it as. So then we started joking with it and everybody's like tea and we're like, ooh, we refer to tea as very different things. So like
when I offer you tea, is that what you're thinking?
Oh
Hey, you
my
want
God,
some tea
no.
today?
No, I'm thinking, what flavor am I drinking today?
I'm like, Kim, this is a very different side of you. I've never heard this story before.
So when
Absolutely.
like, hey, I've got tea and I'm like, ooh, that's like a different conversation. But I don't even know where we were at. Okay. So the
Sorry.
neighbors, they just lay next to each other in bed.
Yeah, which I thought was very weird. And so he thought that like one of them had gotten up in the middle of the night and turned a light on, and not to wake the other one up. They just turned on like a smaller light or whatever and did their thing. And then he starts talking. He's like, yeah, but I did hear like a window break and I did hear a door like get thrown open. And I'm like,
So they were in the house when they got broken into.
no, that was the best part. She was out of town for a week. So I'm like, the story makes zero sense. Like,
Okay, whoa. He was home.
my friend, who's the next door neighbor, is watching he has late hours. He does late night internet stuff. So he was up at like 4 a.m.
Sure,
and-
he does.
That's a totally different story. So anyways, he is up and he sees a light go on and a door smash. And he's like, oh, they must be back in town. I don't know why. Okay. Again, the logic isn't all here, but this is what he told the cops. I'm like, did the cops question you if you had broken into their house? Like you're sounding like you're guilty yourself.
I was watching their house. I was watching as somebody busted through the door.
And I'm not saying I told them that they weren't going to be home or this is the time they should do it. I'm just saying. All right. So as we wrap up here on today's probably
No, you got to finish that.
that's it. That's the story. I don't know any more than that. I just thought that was so
Did
weird.
they take stuff or did they?
Yeah. That was the best part because he's like, it's like they really knew the house. They say the straight face. They took only the really important stuff and left everything else. I'm like, you would be suspect number 1 if I was the cop. Like you're literally going down the list here. You did this. And I know he didn't because that's not his.
So were both of them out of town? The neighbor
Well,
and the wife?
I don't know if
Ex-wife?
both were, but I know the woman that owns the house was out of town. So
Interesting.
it's pretty
Maybe
weird.
it was the other one if they knew exactly where everything was at.
Maybe.
Interesting.
See? All right. If you're a cop in Las Vegas right now and you're wondering, we're on to you. We know, we get this. We have our own theories on this. This went from a fitness podcast to a murder mystery podcast.
There
like
you go.
that.
But I will tell you on a fitness level, Justin, I have not worked out all week.
Well, honestly, Kim, it shows.
Ooh.
I'm
I'll own
kidding.
that. I know.
Kim, you have been pushing yourself
not-
so hard for so long. You should take a few, like, honestly, I would, when I'm going through huge things, like training for the marathon, that kind of stuff, right? I will take, after this, weeks off of doing this stuff. I'll go to
as you
like
should.
walking. Yeah, that's my point. So like, if you were ever questioning if you need a day off, the answer is no. And your body's telling you something. Like, you have no regret. This is the first time I've seen you in months say, I haven't worked out without a single glint or gleam of guilt. You see all those
None.
G's I put together?
None.
High five, Justin.
Yeah, you nailed that. Yeah, no, I've got no guilt at all. I have been crazy busy. We are decorating our church for Christmas. I got to do this because if you force yourself to do something, then you're gonna drive it away. So don't guilt yourself.
Absolutely. And I think that is, in terms of, since we got to bring it back to fitness, which I love, because I think
Right.
tattoos are a part of fitness, especially in
Right.
today's world.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
when
mean,
you get your first tattoo, I want to be there to watch it.
I still
Kel
want one.
just
in-
walked in. Kel, can Justin get a tattoo? Yeah, she says no.
I heard that from in here. Okay. I told you, that's a resounding no.
You knew that answer before I even
Hang on.
asked
Tell
it.
Kelly to come to the microphone for a second.
Hey, Kelly, Justin wants you to come to the microphone. Check you out. No, right. You can come right here. She's wearing like velvet leggings too. They look very comfortable. She's rocking it today.
Tell them what, was it you or Bailey that said, your makeup looks great.
She does look great.
This tattoo look like a butthole.
That was me. It doesn't. It has a butthole on it.
See, that's yes. So we're going to
The mouth looks like a butthole.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see this picture.
We did a whole episode on tattoos and why you need to be very careful when you do them. Choices. All right. Well, this is Kelly. This is the infamous Kelly you hear all about. We're going to do a couples podcast. Don't worry. So, Kim, as always, thank you. What a great episode.
Thank you, Justin.
And to our audience, thank you guys. Can't wait to see you again. And more importantly,
It's okay to make the decision that is best for you.
absolutely, at all times. And listen to your
Don't-
body.
Yes, listen to your body. Don't do peer pressure because it's not worth it in the end. Thank you guys for listening today.
And no drunk tattoos.
No, never. Or with exes.
And that concludes today's episode of The Fitness.
Manifesto. I know you guys enjoyed it.
And Kim, I want to say thank you to you and to our audience for making this podcast what it is.
Yes, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys.
And stay tuned for the next episode.